Mike, what are the biggest misconceptions about MOOCs that you think need to be cleared up? And how would clarifying these assumptions improve our experiences with them?
hmm I think one big misconception is that people think MOOCs are highly ineffective due to their very low completion rates. Now, it is true that a lot of MOOCs do have low completion rates, but I think there are a lot of reasons for that. One of them being, it's difficult to get through an asynchronous course sometimes, by yourself. That's not an easy thing. It's kind of challenging, and people do need other things to spur them on. But that doesn't necessarily make the material ineffective. So one thing that some people do is they decide to go through MOOCs together, either as a cohort, a team, a group. They either select and go into the course or find people in the course that they could work with. And that seems to be one way to keep people motivated and complete the courses. And on the MOOC side and the designer side, we're always trying to do things that do keep people motivated, whether it's friendly announcements, whether it's helping to integrate their study schedule into their calendar. There's all kind of things that we're trying to do too. So I don't think they're ineffective because of the low completion rates. On the other end of it, like the university level, I've been in several courses. I'm sure you've probably been in a course or two where we either undergraduate or graduate where the completion rate was very high. Like all of us who started the course, finished the course. We also paid a lot of money for that course. But at the end of it, just because we all finished it, didn't necessarily make that course effective. There are courses I've taken in grad school that I don't think were effective, but we all completed it. So I think there's a false equivalency between completion and effectiveness. The MOOCs have low completion rates, but I don't think that's a reason to say that they are ineffective um, or ineffective.
Yeah, I like that you're saying that because, I always try to preach that I'm not trying to push that you need to use comics or you need to use video games or any specific medium in the classroom. I think there are different mediums that fit people's preferences. And I do like that you said that, the completion rates doesn't automatically connect directly to, value or, the next step. But I'm curious, how difficult is it for you to convince people of the values of MOOCs if they're coming to you with these, I guess, understandings of, oh, MOOCs aren't even completed at a high rate or things like that? What are some of the things that you've had to do to convince people?
Well,
Or
it's
how have you
it,
convinced them?
it's very difficult. I have almost stopped. I don't actually need to. I work for a university. I'm lucky to work for a university that wants me to build these MOOCs. I'm now working at a veteran center where these free courses for veterans are very important. So I have the go to, the okay to build them. I can't fight that fight, Darnell. I think they're important. I think they need to be used a certain way. But if you're not you, if you are of the thinking that they're ineffectual or ineffective, a waste of time and money, I don't know how to approach that. All I can do as an instructional designer is try to build better and better courses. And I'm always trying to see the opportunity where this course can lead to something. The economist Thomas Sowell once said, there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. So I try to base everything I do around that. MOOCs aren't the end-all answer. It's not the solution to the education problem. But if you take one, there are trade-offs to going to university, there are trade-offs to taking online courses, there are trade-offs to free courses, there's trade-offs to everything. I think it's important that you, as a learner, know what you want to achieve, what your goals are, and then you figure out the right trade-offs for you. So yeah, I really don't know how to talk to I don't know how to argue for those people with those people because I see a lot of good in MOOCs. I also see them hard to go through, but most things that are worth something are hard. No one said they were supposed to be easy. And when you open them to the world, you're going to get a whole range of educational backgrounds and discipline. People might have the time, other people might not have the time. It's a whole plethora of reasons why people might not finish these courses. And I, getting back to the misconceptions, I think it's a misconception to equate low rates with ineffective classes, because I think the courses are getting better and better and better due to a lot of reasons that we talked about earlier.
Right? And if you compare it to past mediums, like MOOCs are a younger medium, right? Or a younger experience because they're making use of multiple
Sure.
modes that have existed for a while, different technologies. But I think, as you said, they're increasingly they're improving. They're improving over time, right? Just like the way that books have been written in the past, even though they're much older medium, right? Like we're doing so much with books, right?
Yeah,
We're doing so much more with movies. We're doing so much more with TVs, etc. But yeah, I appreciate that.
sure. I think another misconception that while we're talking, I'm thinking about misconceptions. I think another one is that people think that it's MOOCs are just to commoditize education. And part of me thinks maybe, but universities aren't commoditizing education. I mean, I work at one. I'm a proponent of universities, but it's also commoditizing education. But one of the nice things about MOOCs are, and we talked about this earlier, if you want to study something applicable to today's changing technology structure, like data analytics, you could go into a MOOC and spend 6 months studying data analytics that could lead you to a certification, that could lead you to a job for a couple $100. For less than $500, you could educate yourself in something like IT support, data analytics, digital marketing, Python programming. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. And you can't do that in university. It's very difficult to do that in university, $500 bill. So the misconception that it's just about making money, I don't buy that misconception either. Another misconception that I really don't believe is people always talk about MOOCs being sort of pedagogically unsound. They don't work pedagogically. In my experience, building MOOCs for 10 years is everyone I've ever built a MOOC with has a graduate level degree and cares so much about making these courses as pedagogically sound as possible. So you and I went to Teachers College where we studied instructional technology. You took your trajectory one way. I took my trajectory into helping faculty, but also building online courses. I've had numerous, I've witnessed numerous arguments, countless discussions with my peers and colleagues, all about how do we make these courses better and better and better? How do we make these online courses fit or work like a course that might be on campus? We might not have gotten there yet, but the fact that we are all struggling to do that means something. I think it's a misconception to say MOOCs are pedagogically unsound, when everyone I've ever worked with thinks nothing other than making them as pedagogically sound as possible. So that's another misconception. Other people, easy to cheat, and I agree. You could cheat in a MOOC. You could have someone take the MOOC for you, but you could do that in university too. If you were in a 350 student lecture hall where the teacher didn't know who you were, is it impossible to cheat there? So cheating is an issue. But this is why I'm a big proponent of complementary things like a project portfolio. So if you want to get a job, and if you want to take MOOCs to educate yourself. I just keep using data analytics because it's something close to me. But if you want to educate yourself in MOOCs to learn enough data analytics for an entry-level job, and you take those courses and you get those certificates and you put them in your LinkedIn profile, it has value and it has meaning. But you know what has more meaning? Those certificates plus a link to a portfolio you've been building
Right.
where you actually have been doing data analytics and anyone could go click on your data set and see your methodology and see how you did it. And maybe there's a video of you explaining what you did. This is where you have to maybe come up with complementary things to help and augment your profile to say, yeah, I could have gotten those certificates by hook or crook, but I didn't. I studied, I got them, and here's proof. The more you could do that, the more value the MOOCs will have. And I think that's upon the learner to position themselves where people don't think you cheated your way to getting them, that they can see by your progress, your work, your portfolio, your projects, that you actually do have the ability to do these things that those certificates say. Again, you could get a college degree, doesn't really mean that you know how to do it either. So, I think another misconception where cheating is a bigger thing than more important than it actually is.